by Manchman. BBC Sport. Share this with still interested in going to the World Cup in Russia this summer? The latest ticket sales phase opened on Wednesday and figures so far show the appetite among England fans is not what it was 4 years ago. With 30,711 tickets allocated so far, England fans are only the 11th most numerous of those making the trip from other countries. During the second sales window, which closed on 3rd of April, there were more tickets taken up by fans from China and India, neither represented at the finals, than from England. By February 2014, 51,222 tickets had already been allocated to England fans heading to Brazil, making them 6th on the list of countries. Tickets are allocated by FIFA according to demand. So why the relative lack of interest? Apathy about the football or worries about politics or crowd violence? And are fans' fears misplaced? First and foremost, football fans want to see their team win. In 2014, England were among the most heavily supported teams, despite a relative lack of success in international football in recent times. The national team have reached the quarter-finals of the World Cup just twice in their past 6 attempts, and they have not won a knockout game at a major tournament in 12 years. So are fans simply losing interest? Garford Beck, the team manager of England Fans FC, thinks so, claiming that a lot of England fans reached the end of the road after Brazil, because it was such a poor showing. And CJ Joyner, a Coventry City fan and member of the FA Travel Club for the past 5 years, says that boring football doesn't help encourage fans to travel. He has spent just over £1,000 to buy tickets for each potential England game, 7 in total, but can return them and receive a refund should England fail to progress past a certain stage. England fans will have to spend a lot of money to follow the side in Russia, but under Gareth Southgate the side lacked creativity, he told BBC Sport. Also at the forefront of fans' minds is the possibility of being caught up in violence between rival supporters. England and Russia fans clashed on the streets of Marseille 2 years ago, before and after the Euro 2016 meeting between the two nations. There were also incidents inside the stadium on the evening of the game. The Russian contingent in the port city were smaller in number but arrived prepared for conflict. Indeed, some England fans in a BBC documentary described the onslaught as a military operation. In the program, Russia's Hooligan Army, a group of Russian ultras, taunted their English counterparts and warned of violence at this summer's World Cup on home soil. However, Anwaruddin, diversity and campaigns manager for the Football Supporters Foundation, told BBC Sport he expects the hooligans to be on their best behavior. "I was in Marseille and the way the Russians went about their business was methodical, they were there to make their mark," he said. Seeing what is reported about some aspects of Russian society, people are going to build up an idea in their heads about what the country is like. It does make you think. But I would like to think the Russian fans will be on their best behavior with the world watching on. The nerve agent attack on former Russian double agent Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia on UK soil in March led many to point the finger at Moscow. The events in Salisbury have severely strained diplomatic relations between the UK and Russia, but Beck, of England Fans FC, believes anti-British sentiment from Russia is nothing new. And although the last tournament was on another continent, he suggests more fans travel to Brazil for the South American climate, and because the country has a better image and is friendlier to England. While most England fans acknowledge the threat of violence from their Russian counterparts, Beck raises concerns about the local police. "I like Eastern Europe, but when we go over there we do seem to get some poor treatment from the authorities." Those claims of Russian police being heavy-handed are echoed by Coventry fan Joyner. He said, "I actually think England fans will be okay in terms of opposing fans, but it's the police I would be worried about." Official guidelines for travelling supporters from the Foreign Office state, due to heightened political tensions between the UK and Russia, you should be aware of the possibility of anti-British sentiment or harassment at this time. If you're currently in Russia or due to travel in the coming weeks, you're advised to remain vigilant. Avoid any protests or demonstrations and avoid commenting publicly on political developments. But the recent experiences of Arsenal fans who traveled to watch their side against CSKA Moscow earlier this month for a Europa League quarter-final tie have been positive. Danny, from Guildford, told BBC Sport, "I feel you're safer going to a sporting event than doing anything else. People have been so friendly. The stereotypes you have, so far they've been completely the opposite. Everyone's been chatty and friendly. I don't know if you can equate club and country, this is not as high profile. I'm not going to the World Cup, but it's been a really positive experience. Quite a few of us go in large groups to games, and when I suggested this trip they said don't be silly, because they didn't want to take the risk." Sam, from North London, added, "A lot of people told us we were foolish for coming out here, but it has been friendly, the city is beautiful, and it's one of the best trips we've been on. We've had a good reception from the locals. We were out until the early hours and there was no hostility. I was in Marseille when England played Russia and didn't have any problems. It's about where you position yourself. If you keep yourself away from the minority that caused trouble, you'll be fine." The supporters we spoke to said one of their biggest issues was paying £185 for a visa at late notice, although the cost of a visa for an England fan should be cheaper because they buy them earlier. Last year, European football's anti-discrimination group FAIR warned gay fans going to Russia not to show affection in public if they wanted to stay safe. In January, Spartak Moscow were sanctioned after posting a tweet referring to their black players as chocolates. Russian politicians have been criticized for a 2013 law banning gay propaganda, a law the European Court of Human Rights last year ruled was discriminatory. But former Chelsea and Russia midfielder Alexis Merton urged gay and ethnic minority England supporters in March not to be deterred from travelling by fears of racist or homophobic abuse. Merton, who is now anti-discrimination chief for the finals, told BBC World Service fans' minds would be changed completely about Russia as a country. Alexei Sorokin, chief of Russia's World Cup organizing committee, has also played down safety concerns for UK visitors. "We will ensure security and equal measures to all, from dignitaries to fans," Sorokin told TASS, the government-owned Russian news agency. "To us, there is no difference which country people come from or what our diplomatic relations with them are. It is a shame that the games will be played in such circumstances." However, the Football Supporters Foundation Zudin said the threat of racism was one of the negatives when weighing up whether to go to the World Cup. "If you're going to spend a ridiculous amount of money following England, you have to weigh up all the pros and cons," said Udine, who is intending to go to Russia later in the tournament. "There are a lot of negatives when thinking about Russia, and the element of violence and racism is on the list. People have to be realistic and safety has to be a concern." Some England fans lay part of the blame with the Football Association. To buy tickets through the FA for any away fixture or major tournament, England fans must be members of the travel club. But Sky Blues supporter Joyner says membership has significantly declined in recent years. "There were 19,000 official members before the World Cup in Brazil 4 years ago, but there are only 11 to 12,000 now," he said. Joyner also says the FA are not enticing fans to become members of the travel club and that there is a feeling among some that the organisation is focused on filling Wembley for home games. "That's all the FA are bothered about because they generate more revenue from home fixtures," Joyner said. In response, an FA spokesperson said, "We are always grateful for the travelling support that England receive and acknowledge that there are a number of factors that determine attendance at tournaments. Share this with